Today in the crypto space, we see the market showing a bit of strength. Bitcoin up approximately 2.5%. Ethereum holding steady right around the $3,600 mark. And the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, some of them are deep in the green, led by XRP and HBAR. A few green also, Algorand doing pretty good, EOS, and many others. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator. But more importantly, I want to talk about one project that is double bottoming and looking for that breakout. And that project is called Octaspace. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins. Looking for opportunity, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's see what's going on here. The market is doing pretty good today. Honestly, led by a bit of a Bitcoin pop to the upside, and Ethereum showing a little bit of strength as it goes sideways, gives the opportunity for the altcoins. XRP has been doing great, guys. XRP is up another 17.7% for the day. Pretty healthy right there. BNB potentially in a bull flag, looking for a breakout. Dogecoin is pushing up today, 9%. Do we get a green weekend, guys? Are we going to get a nice green weekend leading into the holidays? That would be amazing to have a green holidays. But at the end of the day, guys, I'm a little bit worried about Bitcoin. Right? I'm a little bit worried about Bitcoin. I'm still raising capital. I raised a decent amount of capital for a pullback. Now it's about, trying to, get into a few trades to capitalize on any green price action, because just because I'm, expecting a retracement doesn't mean that it has to happen right away. Really, Bitcoin is at a level that you can see it's a bit struggling just a little bit. And if Bitcoin decides to, basically dip down, we're going to see a lot of these altcoins come down as well. So we got to be prepared for that possibility. Cardano at the current moment is looking pretty good. We see a lot of projects. Avalanche looking okay, grinding to the upside in a sideways zone. Of course, both of them kind of going sideways-ish. Do we get rejected? Maybe. Do we come back to the bottom of the range? Maybe. Do we get a nice impulsive move and continuation to the upside? I think it's all dependent on what Ethereum does in the next little while. For these altcoins, we need Ethereum on board. And currently, Ethereum is, testing a bit of resistance, maybe looking for a breakout. And this is one of the things, guys, both ETH and Bitcoin are at levels where, a pullback, a healthy retracement is absolutely okay and acceptable. And still very bullish, getting confirmations on a previous price action as confirmations is absolutely great. As you go down, you can see the market is green. It's very clearly green. Not really that much. Some of them up a little bit more. We got, Litecoin doing pretty good, 7%. We got Aptos, another 4% move. HBAR, Hedera hash graph. If you guys have been watching, HBAR has been doing really good, guys. I'm glad that I was able to get my entries early on HBAR and lock and load and walk away. I've been holding my HBAR bags for a good while. I was releasing videos on HBAR a while back when no one was really talking about it, and I just locked and loaded and left it, aside. And in this case, I always knew that HBAR had very steady price action, and then had the possibility for a pump, and that's the case. I considered HBAR and XRP and a few others. When I see price action go sideways, I consider them a stable coin with the possibility of a pump. And this is exactly how you get rewarded, right? Seeing a nice pump to the upside, 20% for the day, 26% in the last 7 days. Pretty good. I'm happy with that. We have BitTensor still looking strong. And as you can see, a lot of these projects are potentially looking for continuation. We have Filecoin looking for a breakout. We have VeChain looking for a breakout. We have a lot of projects. Algorand has already been breaking out. It's up 71% in the last 7 days. At one point, Algorand was a lagger. It was hanging back, doing nothing. All of a sudden, Algorand, guys, it's took off. It's too late right now. 71%, up 40% for the day. The magic has already passed, guys. Be careful with Algo. Be careful with getting into projects that are looking really strong and pumping and green and all of that, because it could be that you're buying a local top. Like I always say, keep in mind what Bitcoin looks like. Keep in mind where we are in this cycle. Keep in mind that we haven't really retraced in this market for a good period amount of time. And you got to admit, we're getting signs of a rotation. Some of the lower cap altcoins have been doing pretty good. If you've been noticing, we have Terra today, Cubic flying to higher levels. It's not a micro cap, but it's still a smaller cap. Now all of a sudden you can see that it's up. Cubic has moved up significantly in the last little while, which is great because, again, if you get into those bottom dwellers like Cubic was going sideways for a good period amount of time, and then all of a sudden you wake up overnight and it's up 100%, guys, you've done well. Hodling, hodlers get rewarded for their patience, and that's exactly what I'm here to say today. Is we have to keep on looking for those bottom dwelling opportunities, put a bit of capital in, deploy DCA, and then just be patient, and then they start to pop, right? So look, the market right now is still looking green. I am not willing to take too much risk here. However, I do want to capitalize on any of the volatility to the upside if we have a little bit more strength in the market. All right, guys, let's take a look at today's charts. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin, and then we're going to be taking a look at the Octa chart, the Octaspace chart. Currently, we do see that Bitcoin is doing pretty good here, right? Obviously, we're back above the horizontal, which is nice. Now that we close the daily candle, if we look at the daily time frame, we're going to see daily candles wanting to close above. That would be absolutely great. But honestly, after a cup and handle type of formation and the breakout, we're looking for resistance right around 98,000, 99,000. Of course, guys, $100,000 Bitcoin, is that around the corner? Possibly. However, guys, when we look at the indicators that we have, lack of volume and many others, I'm a bit on the fence here. I'm waiting to see what happens before I get bullish into risk again. All right, guys, let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. Now, the major idea here is, when do you take risk? And for me, the time to take risk is at the most obvious. This is not the most obvious. You can see Bitcoin right now is playing games with the market. Clearly, right? Came down, dipped, now we're back up. Now what do we do? Look at all this. It looks a little bit annoying. Let's put it that way. It looks annoying. Now, during these phases, we get a lot of emotions. People losing patience. They start revenge trading. They increase their leverage because they want to make up for their losses. And things start to, create, basically the market creates the perfect condition, the perfect storm to hunt liquidity. And that's not something that we want to do. We don't want to be, we don't want to fund the market. We want to be able to capitalize on the market. So right now I am choosing strategically to hold off, especially on risky trades. I will be willing to get into trades where the risk to reward ratio is in my favor. And that's the only rule that I have at the current moment. And I'm going to be quick to take profit because, of course, we don't know what's going to happen to Bitcoin. In fact, Bitcoin could definitely get a squeeze because we've been looking at on the live streams. Guys, feel free to join the live streams at 8 p.m. EST. We've been talking about a lot there with regards to a potential scenario where we get longs and shorts wrecked, whipsaw price action. Maybe we go up, come back and go up to the higher levels, hunt a bit of liquidity, get some of those shorts that are shorting right here, get them wrecked, and come right back down and get the longs wrecked as well, and potentially come down for that dip and hit a little bit of a lower level so that we can DCA. And then at the same time, we start to see the altcoins, retrace as well. So Bitcoin at the current moment is in a level of which I am not confident. And you can see that this green candle got back above the horizontal. And the question is tonight, do we close a daily candle above? If you close that daily candle above, it's going to look great. Obviously, if it stays below and it closes below, it's not the greatest. And now we start to look at oscillators as well. We can see that the momentum is shifting. The only thing that keeps me bullish here on the daily is that the volatility is pushing up now. We're getting a bullish response here. Is that the higher high that we're looking for? Okay, so that's concerning to me, that I don't want to miss out on Bitcoin's breakout to 110 for a short-term trade to the upside. We see the EMA still facing down on the trend with red histogram bars. Not a good look, okay? The expansion, you can see this green expansion is slowly coming down, right? Slowly. But in the meantime, we see the orange line pushing up. And that means we're getting a bullish response, while ultimately the trend of the momentum is downwards. And on the way down, we might get a lower low. because the strength, if the momentum is coming down, the strength in the volatility is going to be in the same direction as the momentum, and that's usually the perfect storm for a move to the downside, where we see extra strength to the downside, especially with all these other conditions suggesting weakness. Okay, so I'm not really convinced here to take too much risk in the markets. Again, if we look at the oscillators, we're overbought here, and we're stuck in the chop zone here. We do see EMAs facing up and green histogram bars, and the expansion is purple. The 4 hours looking okay, but a little bit indecisive, but okay, fine. I feel that it's not time to take risk here. Okay, guys, so when do we take risk? The question is when and how much risk do we take? And it's all about your risk to reward ratio setups. And this is why I want to talk to you guys about Octa. Today I had the choice. Do I, talk about Cubic? Do I talk about all the others have been flying Spectral, the AI project? They all have been flying, guys. And if you've been following me here on the channel, guys, we caught the absolute bottoms on those projects. Okay, we got in early and great entries. And this is the thing, guys. If you're looking for entries, you can't be buying tops. You can't be buying expansions. And this is why I'm talking to you about Octa today, because I think Octa could be at a level of which we could expect an eventual breakout eventually. What I want you to notice is that we got a nice V recovery and a nice rounded bottom. Number one, the rounded bottom suggests accumulation. Number two, the V recovery right here usually completes a nice Adam and Eve structure. Adam and Eve patterns definitely are bullish, especially once we start breaking to make higher highs. Now, the previous highs all the way up here, but I like to look at volume for breaks. And you can see that right above $1.50, we start to diminish a lot of the volume, to the point that if we break above $1.50, I feel like it's going to be a lot easier for the price to run. As you can see, the volume slowly tapers in. Now, I do notice that there's a cluster of supply and demand here, which is quite relevant because of the previous price action right into this level. Now, is there emotion there? 100%. Is it possible to act as resistance? Why not? Is it possible that we consolidate here, offload some profit takers, and then onboard some bullish bids for a continuation up? Yes, but that's besides the point. I think the point right now is the entry is not that bad, especially if we do retrace into the support once again, and eventually look for the break of this trend. So let's clean up this chart a little bit. Let's get rid of this because this played out, and you can see that this kind of played out, took a bit of time, came down a little bit lower than expected. Definitely did hunt some liquidity, but this was the area to start building positions. Now, all of a sudden, we're looking to stay above the 200 daily. Let me expand this a little bit better. The orange line is the 200 daily right here. We do have that resistance that I do realize right into this level that is quite confluent with the 200 daily. We have this volume gap that will allow it to move up, and we have the volume here that could act as resistance with the point of control in this local time frame. Okay, so ultimately, I know the bears might be looking at this as a complex head and shoulders with multiple shoulders, a head and the shoulders, but the reality is we are using the neckline as support. And this is one thing that new traders don't understand. They love the head and shoulders because of the name and and what it represents. But the reality is, if we are going to use the head and shoulders formations, whether it be inverse or standard, the reality is the neckline needs to be broken in order to get, in this case, bearish. If we use the neckline as support, it's bullish. And the reality is, if we start breaking the trend, that's bullish. If we start breaking above horizontal resistance, which sometimes it is the 200 daily EMA, it's bullish. If we start breaking above local tops and levels of volume, it's bullish. So ultimately, we're looking at a level where the risk to reward ratio is good, and the chart looks quite ready to create some bullish change. And the change of character is really what I'm looking for, is a higher high and a higher low. Right now we're still making lower lows and lower highs, so we're quite early. Could we consolidate in this space and then eventually break out? 100%, guys. And we've seen a lot of projects do that. I just have a little bit of confidence here on the horizontal at about $1.23, $1.24, just because we respected it so many times. And as you can see, the market is slowly breaking out, and Octaspace being a lower cap, and we're seeing a bit of the rotation where some of the smaller cap altcoins are getting some attention. We could see Octaspace climb out of this bottom and start running to the upside. And then again, we start looking at possibilities. Extension levels 1.618, 2.618. We can hit $2.70, $3.12. These are all good areas for potential breakouts, right? Let's take a look at the momentum. You can't deny that the momentum at this current state is bullish. Class A, bullish divergence, lower lows on the price action, higher lows on the momentum. So let's get this outlined here. As you can see, these two bottoms, they're making lower low, and it does look like a descending wedge or a falling wedge. Okay, this is bullish. Falling wedges eventually have the statistics to break out bullish. Okay, so we got to pay attention to this, because the momentum, all it really needs is to get a bit of follow through and get overbought, and it's likely that this thing is going to start to run again. You can see that the trend oscillator EMA is facing up, green histogram bars to the upside. After multiple drives of bullish divergence, 1, 2, and 3, we are in a bullish expansion with a purple expansion right here suggesting bullishness. And guess what? We are in the bullish control zone once again. Okay, so everything right now for Octa is looking pretty good, both momentum and trend oscillator. We have divergences everywhere. We have expansions coming in. My only concern is the market structure. Could we come down for a bit of a dip and confirm a higher low and maybe could support at $1.25? That is very possible before the breakout, which will give you the opportunity to accumulate within this range and while still respecting the horizontal that acted as support. And this is the zone where you should be DCAing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get rid of this right now and say even right now is not a bad time, because if it does decide to break out like many other altcoins in the last little bit, guys, you're going to miss out. Okay, that's the problem. DCA small bags. Maybe use a 30-30-40 rule. 30% here, 30% down here, 40% down here, and DCA into the zone. I'm going to make this yellow so that you're aware of my language, that usually always the yellow boxes mean accumulate. Okay, so we're definitely in accumulation, waiting to break this trend. However, again, I am very concerned about this descending or falling wedge. This falling wedge should have a bullish breakout, but it needs to eventually get that signal of a pivot point structure, a higher high, and potentially come down for a higher low, and then higher highs and higher lows suggest that this might come and become a pivot point structure. Pivot point structures are when you start to see the price move from bearish, lower lows and lower highs, to all of a sudden making a higher high and a higher low. And all of a sudden, it starts to look like a nice rounded bottom and pivot point structure out of a descending wedge. One of my favorite structures are the descending wedges because of the success rate that you can get out of them. And in addition to that, the fact is that it allows you to find and isolate pivot point structures quite easily and deploy capital within the structure as you build those confirmations. So everything's looking good right now for Octa. Again, we've seen a lot of these small caps run. It could be that Octa might get its moment, especially within the D-pin narrative and the rendering narrative and all that good stuff that Octaspace has to offer. Go check out the team. I think it's a decent one, and I also have a deep dive on the project that you can check out, and there's a whole playlist on the channel with all the deep dives, so go check it out. Take care, guys. If I've offered you any value, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on those socials, the links are in the description below. Join the Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.